Hey guys, I know it's been a while since I've uploaded on this channel, so apologies. I just had a few personal stuff come up, but as you guys voted on Patreon, this video has been a long time coming, and I don't want to go into too much detail on what depression is, like the actual entity itself and why it happens. But I guess in a nutshell, depression is a way that our body and mind communicates with us that something is not right, something is out of alignment. Our expectation of how reality should be is completely different to how it actually is. And this is a very simplified, reductionist way to explain it. And sometime in the future, I will be making a video on what depression is and my personal story with it. But in this video, I wanted to particularly focus on 5 practical methods that may help you move past this, because I know it can be extremely tough, to say the least. You know, I know how it feels like to be suicidal, be so paralyzed that you can't move from bed and you're just miserable every single day, and it's like you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But again, I'm not gonna get into my story here, but I know what it feels like to be in hell basically and have this thing completely dictate your life, right? Because I know that depression can feel like this parasitic entity that just sucks your life force, basically. Kind of like an ex-girlfriend, eh? No, I'm joking. Or am I? Okay, so the first thing that I would say about overcoming depression is be with it. Don't escape it, you know? Remember that it's not the darkness that fucks us up, it's the resistance to the darkness that fucks us up. So the more we try and escape it, especially with drugs, alcohol, food, porn, gambling, friends, whatever your preferred choice of escapism is, the more you do that and run away, the stronger this entity that we call depression is going to grow, right? It's going to become stronger. It's going to become more painful, right? Depression is a way of your body communicating with you that something is out of alignment, so listen to it. Awareness in and of itself can be curative if you're willing to do an honest reflection of yourself. And since depression puts us so far out of alignment, we need to strive for balance. And to achieve balance, you must understand, right? You must make the darkness conscious. Like Carl Jung said, enlightenment isn't about imagining figures of light, it's about making the darkness conscious. You know, people will do whatever it takes to face their own soul, basically. And pain and suffering is the ticket price for existing as a human being. So it's a part of life. I think it's just in this society we get sold this bullshit that we got to be happy or we got to feel good all the time, and if you're not feeling good, something's wrong with you. And I don't want to get too much into that, but just remember, it's okay to feel shitty, it's okay to feel sad, it's okay to feel depressed. We live in a very dark world. There's a lot to be depressed about, but it's not practical in the long run. So I would say sit with it, don't escape it. Be mindful of the sensations that are coming up in your body. You know, like if you're sitting down, what emotion are you feeling? Like, be really specific with it. Is it despair? Is it sorrow? Why are you feeling despair? Why are you feeling sorrow? Is it because of the world? Is it because of a trauma that happened to you? Is it like if you look deep enough and if you go far enough with your honest introspection, you may find a root cause. I guess you could call it self-therapy if you want, whatever it is, but it's really just mindfulness meditation, and that's what meditation is. It's being present with being a human being. It's not about feeling good. A lot of times meditation feels like shit, actually, because you're being present with a certain negative state. I could make a whole video on the nature of emotions, but in short, it's energy in motion. So if you want to move past an emotional state, push through it. Allow the emotion to run its course, because the more you escape from it, the more it's going to build up, the worse it's going to get, the more resistance you build. This is not going to be an easy process, guys. In fact, it's going to be brutal, if I'm being frank with you here. And this is not something that is going to be cured overnight. It's a long process, but this is the kind of approach, in my opinion, I think we should all be taking for those who are struggling with depression. And especially because depression can come back in this cyclical nature. You know, you might think that you've cured your depression forever, but then sometimes it comes back. You know, there can be certain life tragedies that can happen that can trigger depression again. For example, recently I had my first and childhood dog pass away not too long ago, actually, which triggered a lot of grief and depression and all this existential angst, you know? And did it suck? Yeah. Did I break down? Yeah. Did I cry like a little bitch? Fuck yes, I did. But I allowed it to go through. I sat in it. I was present with it. And it wasn't easy, but the more, again, like I said, if you don't resist it and you're able to be present with it as much as possible, you're giving it a chance to run its course, you know. And sometimes you can even see the beauty in the sadness if you go far enough. And does this mean that I'm completely cured and over the death of my dog? Of course not. It sucks. It's heart-wrenching. But because I allowed myself, you know, to cry, to feel that sadness, that grief, and these old triggers of depression coming up, I knew it was a cycle, and I know that it's part of being human, and that's okay. So I guess what I'm saying is that it's okay not to be okay. Second method, express yourself, move, right? What is depression? It's in the name itself. Depression. Your system's getting depressed. The walls are closing in on you. You don't want to move. You want to be inactive. What does depression love more than anything? And wants you to lie down in your bed, eat junk food, watch your favorite TV, have the curtains closed, be away from people, away from nature, away from sunlight. So what's the opposite of depression? Expression. Going outwards, taking action, maybe having a creative outlet, like art can really help. I remember growing up in high school, playing heavy metal really helped me. Right? And I'm not saying that listening to heavy metal is a good thing all the time, and it just depends on your state, right? Because there are certain emotional states that are higher than others, and when you're in depression mode, you can feel shame, despair, apathy, and all these very low, inactive emotional states. Whereas at least anger, even though it is on the negative emotional spectrum, it's still higher than despair and apathy. So sometimes angry music or playing an instrument or just going to a concert or just something where you can emote yourself can raise your vibration. And it can be a good stepping stone. So any creative outlet, whether it's painting, music, writing, journaling, speaking, you know, creating a YouTube channel, whatever. It could be shouting, screaming, allowing yourself to cry. Go to a punching bag and just smash the shit out of it. Like, use those energizing emotional states. You know, because a lot of New Age people think that anger, it's not spiritual to be anger. But again, it's a very valid part of being a human being. And the more you, reject certain parts of yourself, the more fragmented you're going to be. And even though depression stems from the mind, it's stored in the body, right? So you can't get out of depression by using the same means as which it was created. Like Albert Einstein says, you can't solve a problem on the level of consciousness that was created. In other words, you can't think yourself out of depression. You gotta move, you gotta use your body, right? That's what I'm saying. Scream, jump, express yourself. Talk about your feelings to somebody. Just, you gotta let it out. Otherwise those depressive thought forms are just gonna ricochet in your mind chamber forever until you actually kind of regurgitate and purge it out, if you will. Sometimes that's why writing in the form of journaling, which is creative expression, can get these thoughts from here on paper and allow yourself to let it out, express yourself, right? So do whatever resonates with you, but actually do it. Please don't just watch this video and come up with all these things that you could do to overcome your depression, but don't actually take action of it. Because the key remedy for overcoming depression is action. Straight up. Whatever it is that you're into, whatever resonates with you, go and do that thing right now. Or not, you don't have to do anything. I'm just suggesting certain ways that have helped myself, and I know many other people. So it may be worthwhile giving it a go, is all I'm saying. Change your environment. Now, this doesn't just include your physical environment, like the house that you're in or how clean your room is, even though that is actually incredibly important, but also the people that you hang out with. You know, like Jim Rohn used to say, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Right? So if you're hanging out with depressed, miserable people who complain about their job or whatever it is, that just guess who you're going to be, right? So try to find a more inspiring group. And I know this is a lot easier said than done, of course, but we live in the age of the internet where you don't really have an excuse these days to find a group that you're into. You know what I mean? It's so easy to find meetups these days, and you know, connect with a group that's into whatever weird shit you're into. You're gonna find someone, is what I'm trying to say. And by the way, hanging out with people doesn't even have to be in physical form. Even reading books or listening to audiobooks from great people that inspire you counts as hanging out with them on a subconscious level. Don't underestimate the power of audiobooks, podcasts, whatever medium you prefer, but try to find something that is inspiring to you. And it's not just about hanging out with inspiring people, but I want to emphasize cleaning your environment. And I know this is something that you may have heard millions of times before, probably from your parents, like, clean your room. But there's actually a very profound thing that happens when you do clean up your environment. You know, if you look at the second Hermetic principle, law of correspondence, as above, so below, so within, so without. The outer world is a reflection of your inner world and vice versa. So even having a cleaner room, doing your bed, tidying up your desk, will put more order to your chaotic mind, believe it or not. And another bonus tip which I would chuck in there is putting inspirational quotes on the wall. You know, that's what I do, so that you can reprogram your unconscious mind. Another thing that could really, really help you is traveling. You know what I mean? If you're struggling with cash, you can volunteer in some place, you know, go to another culture, meet new people, just do something that is going to be completely different to what you're doing now, especially with getting outside of your comfort zone and spending time with different people, and just change it up. You can learn a lot about yourself by traveling. Okay, so diet and exercise. I know this is an extremely obvious method in overcoming depression, but I think it's underemphasized of how important it is. Even just think of diet, right? 90% of your serotonin receptors are manufactured through your gut, and serotonin is the hormone responsible for helping you feel good, right? So it makes sense that what you put in your body is going to greatly affect how you feel. And I know that this is advice that everyone can just say willy-nilly because it's so easy. Diet and exercise. And yeah, I know it's hard, but I just really want to emphasize how profound changing your diet can be to your mental health. The body is the mind. I know that in society we like to separate these things, but they're actually intricately connected. And I'm not going to give you diet advice, but I would say a good rule of thumb is just to, well, eliminate shit, right? Your processed crappy foods, and putting more whole foods, healthy greens, drink more water, keep hydrated. If you're into supplements, go for that. Like, just do your own research, but just really treat diet of utmost importance, because it is. You know, you'd be surprised how many things you can heal just from changing your diet. This is an important point I want to make, is that with depression, we don't give our mind and body the chance to even heal. Like, imagine if you break your arm, right? And then every morning I wake up and I smash it with a hammer. Do you think that arm is ever going to heal? No, because I'm not giving it the chance to repair. Same thing with depression. We don't allow ourselves to heal from depression because we're hanging out with the same shitty people, eating the same shitty foods, doing the same bad habits, staying in a dark room, away from nature, away from sunlight, and all these things that just keep the depression just worse, because we keep reinforcing those habits over and over and over again. And again, I'm not coming from a judgmental point of view, because I know this is it's easier said than done, and this video is more of a reminder and emphasize certain methods. And maybe for some people you may hear something that you haven't heard before, which I hope to achieve. Maybe not, but it doesn't really matter. I like to remind myself of these things as well, you know. And I don't have to tell you how important exercise is as well, but I think for depression, intense cardio is especially good. Like running, CrossFit, kind of like explosive push-ups and jump squats and things that like really get your nervous system going. So the final method which I want to share with you guys, which I would argue is probably the one that's going to help you the most and has the most profound results, but it's the one that people really struggle making that first step, and that is to seek help. This could be reaching out to your parents, your friends, therapy, a coach, a mentor, or whatever you resonate with, I would recommend going to a therapist, someone that specializes in treating people with mental health issues like depression and anxiety. And it's even better if you talk to someone who's gone through what you've gone through, because that can give you the hope. And when you see the light at the end of the tunnel, it makes it a lot easier to keep going versus when you just you're like, there's no hope, I'm fucked forever. Then it makes it a lot difficult. So if you can find yourself some hope and speak to someone who's been through what you've been through, or even been through worse than what you've been through, and you see them how they are now, it really does encourage you. Like, you know what? This is just a phase. I'm going to get better. It's part of being human. It's just, the depression demon is very good at convincing us that we're going to be stuck like this forever. And this is not the case, as long as you're willing to take action, take those steps, and go out there, really. BetterHelp reached out to me not too long ago, and I don't really check out those kind of things too much, but I decided to check it out, see what it's about. And it's a really cool service if you want to get a therapist that can help you through what you're going. I would encourage you guys to check it out, especially if you are going through a debilitating depression, because I know how tough it can be. And just talking to someone does wonders. It really does. Honestly, I think everyone should have a mentor, coach, or therapist, or something, because the truth is we're all fucked up. There are just those who can admit it, some who think that they've got it all figured out, and the truth is no one's got it figured out, right? Which is not such a bad thing, because it means that we're not alone, right? No matter what you're going through, there is someone who has been in the same place. And like I said, finding that hope and seeing firsthand someone who's gone through the other side, who's gone through the trenches, it really encourages you. It gives you that inspiration, which is what we need sometimes, right? It can be that spark that can get you out of this downward spiral you found yourself in. So I'll leave it at that, and I want to actually chuck in one bonus method, and that is, believe it or not, help someone else. Depression is, and I'm not saying this in a derogatory manner, but depression is a very narcissistic illness. But it's important to acknowledge it for what it is, so then you can distinguish what the opposite thing is, right? So if depression is a very narcissistic, you're just focused on yourself, you're in your head kind of illness, then it would make sense that stepping outside yourself and actually helping someone else would help a lot, and it does. It really does. And this is when depression becomes a gift in disguise, and when trauma goes full circle is when you're able to help someone else. And it is the most fulfilling feeling in the world, in my opinion, is helping someone. You don't have to go big and volunteer in Africa and help kids who are dying of starvation. You don't have to go that extreme. It could be as small as helping your mum do the dishes, or helping your little sister do her homework, or volunteering as a firefighter, or just whatever it is. There are 1,000,001 ways in which you can step outside yourself and help somebody else. And I would argue that this is a very, very effective method that could potentially be the final thing that gets you out of your own head. You know what I mean? Yeah, but that's pretty much it. There's a reason why it took me so long to make this video. It's only because there's 1,000,000 videos on YouTube on how to overcome depression, people saying the same thing. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, actually, because we need the reminder. We do. But I hope that I gave you guys a different perspective, or maybe I emphasized something that you didn't really take serious before, or whatever it is. I just hope this video helped you in one way, shape, or form. And if it does, leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Oh, by the way, guys, I do have a private Patreon Discord server, so if you're interested in joining that, chatting with the community, maybe connecting with myself, feel free. I'll leave a link in the description box below. Anyways, guys, hope you have an awesome day, and remember, if you want to overcome depression, you got to go through it, right in it. And I know I'm just repeating the first method I said, but I think it's incredibly important. That's the number one first step, is to be with it and really be present with it, as hard as it is. But be kind to yourself. If it's too overwhelming, just do it step at a time. Take your own, pace yourself, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But anyways, I'm just rambling now. Have a good day. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace. Peace.